Welcome back, YouTube. This is Corey again with a part two of my Green Lantern costume. I did say in my previous stream that I promised this time it was going to be a lot shorter, mainly because of the bulk of my first stream was due to the amount of pinning that I had to do. And again, I am sorry for that. That did add to what I feel was the boringness or so of my last stream. So with this time, I did promise that I would have the pinning done. And as you can see, I do. This hand is kind of looking like Pinhead at the moment. But I have this entire side pinned together. So as you can see, here's the arm. And then the leg right over here, going all the way down the side. Here we are. So boom. Right now, well, not right now. Sorry about that. So yes, I had found that I did quite, that I had quite a few mistakes with the last stitch. With the leg, yes, with the leg, I realized that how I have here, you can see the taper coming down right here, how that was way too narrow for my feet to go through. Unfortunately, um, I did not have the foresight to make the vertical direction the stretchier part. So like this does have some stretch, but it doesn't have enough. The bulk of the stretch is pretty much the horizontal, going horizontally, which is still good in a way, but it would have been a lot better if I had it going vertically. So due to that, I had to undo not the entire stitch. Thank God I didn't have to undo the entire stitch, but I did have to do quite a ways, as you can see where this snip is at, which I'll get back to that in a second. I had to undo the stitch up to about here where the snip is at, and then just re-sew going all the way, just following the pattern as is, because seeing as this is thicker fabric, more than likely it's going to kind of close in as I put my leg and my foot through. So we will find out about that when we get to that bridge. At the moment, we are not there yet. But I do have to I did try it on. I did, keyword try. I did try it on, and unfortunately the width, it's a lot easier to see on this side because the stitch is green. The width is not wide enough. And seeing as I have this snip, this is technically the inside of the seam. Yes, that's the inside of the seam. So due to, actually no, that is the outside. Inside, inside, outside. Yeah, outside. So due to it being on the outside of the seam, I have to basically re-sew the entire inside of the seam. I have to make it a little wider because I'm a big dude, like I'm a little thick, so my thighs and my calves are, they'll fit, but it'll be a really tight fit. And this fabric is not literally heavy. It's just, it'll be very, very hot. If it's like skin tight, it's gonna get real hot real quick. So just to give that little extra breathing room, I'm gonna have to widen the stitch a little bit on the inside. And I yeah, I just gotta play around with that until I get it right. So the good thing about that is it takes about maybe a few minutes to unstitch to unstitch everything, and it's just a hassle having to do that, but you know that's it's part of getting your costume right. You know, little alterations here and there, unavoidable, but still. So other than that, um, the leg is pretty much done. The arm is done, but with the arm, I also need to make that a little wider too, because again, I'm a pretty thick guy. So like my forearms, the fabric again does not stretch the vertical way; it stretches the horizontal way. So I have to restitch that. And also, when trying that on, I accidentally popped a couple stitches. So where are you, arm? Here you are. So as you can see here, this is along the thumb. It popped here, and it popped. So yeah, it popped here, and it popped about here. It's not that noticeable when you're looking at it from the inside view, but when you turn it inside out and everything, you'll be able to see the gaps of where it popped. So in order to have it be clean looking and all that, I need to fix the seams. So yeah, that's that. One moment, just have to send a few messages. Da-da-da. But so yeah, seeing as this is gonna be part two, I will try and make it a lot shorter. My first stream, being as my very first stream, should not have ran 4 hours. Again, I am deeply sorry about that. So this time I'm going to try to make it at most 2 hours. So this, I'm probably gonna have one more stream after this, maybe one or two more streams. But I want you guys with me on this journey, you know? So just got to send a couple more messages, just letting other people know that I'm streaming right now. So, and to do one more. Come on, come on. There we go. And we are all set. Alrighties. So I'm gonna get the music playing. And I hope you guys enjoyed my music taste from last stream. Dun, 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 dun. Let's go with a little anime this for starting off. Got a friend of mine. If he tunes in and happens to hear this song, more than likely he is definitely going to start commenting that I'm a weeb. But you know what? I am what I am. I is what I is. Alrighties. Woo! So now we are going to start with getting my bearings first. Alrighties. All right, now we are all situated. We have the side that we need to sew. So now, learning from what happened with the left side of the costume, because the side that's already sewn together, that's the left side. So learning from that, I am going to have to sew not on the line, but more on the edge. And the best way that I can do that, as you guys can see, this is the presser foot. This, I don't know what orientation it really is on, like how you guys see it. If you guys see the orientation the way that I see it, this is going to be the left side of the presser foot. All right. So this is the left side of the presser foot. This is going to be the side that is on the outside of when I'm sewing. So if I have whatever I'm sewing going straight down, like following this line right here, right in this crack right here, that would be, if I have the, I guess the line of the pattern going through here, that's basically dead center. I can't be dead center or else everything won't fit. So I need to shift over a little bit so that the outside of the presser foot is either right on the line or I can see the line. That way I get enough room that I can fit my arm and my leg through, and I still get that nice clean stitch when as I'm following the pattern on the outside of the presser foot. So let's put this back in. Alrighty, now let's move that back a little bit. And let's move you guys a little closer. Alrighty, so I raise the presser foot. And it's always good to, like, right before you start doing anything, make sure that your machine is off. Because, like, me personally, I like to have my foot on the pedal even before I start sewing. Just a little personal habit of mine. But I like to have my foot on the pedal, and just in case, like, if I happen to adjust myself and I push down on the pedal, the machine is not on. So if you can hear that clicking, that's the pedal for the sewing machine. Nothing's happening because the power is not on. Now the power is on. All right. So before I start to sew, I like to make sure I have everything lined up the way that I need it. Let's move this up. And I have to be really careful, seeing as I have the entire leg pinned together and I have the entire arm pinned together and the side. I need to be very careful and not stick myself, because it hurts a lot. All right. So I can start center towards the beginning, but it's more along the lines of as I start to get closer down to the forearm area where I'm going to have to take that off ramp and then line the outside of the presser foot with the line of the pattern. That way I know I have enough room for my arm to fit through, no problem. All right, so the needle is inserted. Everything lines up. Before I start, let me just mark off where I need to take that off ramp. What you won't do to fall in love. You tried everything. In my world, only you. Starting right now, and we're off. Starting off nice and easy, staying on the line. Speed up just a little bit. So I kind of compare sewing to coloring. You know, as you're growing up and your parents get you coloring books and whatnot, or you find pictures, black and white pictures that you just want to color in. Your parents are always telling you stay within the lines. The lines are your friends. You know, I pretty much compare staying within the lines for coloring the same as sewing. You know, so stay within the lines as much as you can see, because like all the movement, if you're using fabric chalk, you know, moving the fabric around a lot, touching the fabric a lot, it's gonna make the chalk eventually like disappear. So like just stay within the line as much as you can manage if you haven't gone over again the pattern, just like freshening up the pattern marks on the fabric. So if you guys saw what I did, I marked, let me turn this off so you can probably see it better. If you can see this white line right next to my thumb, this is where I'm marked at for the off ramp. So we are nearing that, and just gonna slow down a little bit. All right, and now take that off ramp. And just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna have the pattern be on the outside of the line of the presser foot instead of it being right under. So now I just need to figure out where I'm gonna have the on-ramp be at. Or I can just keep going down until I hit the curve of the hand, like right where this curve happens at. So I can just transition into the side of the hand and not have to worry about kind of bringing the presser foot back on. And if it's too wide, you know, like if my hand fits through but it's still too wide, I can always go back and then, you know, just like clean up whatever little bit here and there. So nothing is definite until I go over the entire thing once more. That will really, like, in my experience, that really like locks in the sew, and it takes care of any potential breaks or frays. So here we go. Ooh, my phone is just on Motown mode right now. All right. Transition straight into the pattern for the hand. Now I'm just going around slowly. Now I just have to fight with the fabric and get it to turn. All right, and this time, with in between each finger, I pretty much took like for the webbing area, I took a needle and put it straight through the point of where that particular pattern ends for in between each finger. That way I get as close as to a really good fit as I can, as opposed to just like having to eyeball where the end of the webbing is. You know, because if I have to eyeball that, if I guess it too high, it's like the finish is going to be like up to here, and that's just not going to look right. Or if I guess it too low, it's going to be like really, really tight, and that's going to be very uncomfortable. So I'm going for comfort and accuracy, I guess. So just keep going until I see, there we go. So instead of having the needle come all the way out, I'm just going to raise the presser foot and then rotate everything else. So like on the straightaways, I like to go a little fast because it's just a straightaway. But as I near the round, I like to slow down because, again, I'm not that adept in going at a high pace and keeping the fabric rotating at the same time to get that real clean circle or half circle. So I like to go real slow because I'm also not trying to have a zigzag in the stitch. Sometimes that's going to happen, but you know, work with what you got. And I can tell that most of that did not go on the line. Hopefully I don't have to clean up too much with that. So now I have to go on the outside a little bit until I get down to the bottom. Alrighty, I'm at the point. Now I just rotate, but I'm going to move these needles out of the way. Just close and tuck. Close and tuck. Alrighty. All right. So now what just happened? This is the middle finger. So, in between the middle finger and the ring finger, the pattern between, or like the inside and the outside of each finger, they were pretty much drawn too close together. So I needed to I basically had to sew on like inside, like the actual inside of the middle finger, so that the stitch between the two wouldn't be one piece. That way when I go to cut the excess or the excess fabric out, there'll be room, enough room that the stitch would stay in and I would be able to move all my fingers. So if I would have stayed to the pattern, there would have been no room for me to cut in between my middle finger and my ring finger. And after putting the costume together and everything, even though it's sewn down the middle and that's pretty basically two different fingers, the glove would have been like this. So, you know, and again, I'm trying to go for a human Green Lantern as opposed to an alien Green Lantern. Though that is a good idea for an alien costume, or an alien glove, I should say, if you want your alien to have 4 fingers. Alrighty, so just going around the bend. All right, and pretty much the same thing again for in between the middle finger and the index finger. The webbing in between these two fingers are pretty much, they're not right on top of each other. It's not one line, but they are pretty close. So again, I have to be real careful when sewing this part also. So here we go. I just went down one side of the middle finger aligned with the index finger, and now I am going back up, but I'm sewing on the inside of the index finger as opposed to on the line. And then I just transition from the inside of the index finger to right on the line. Come on. Get a little bit of that seal in there. Alrighty, and there we go. Alrighty, now what's stuck? Something seems to be stuck. There we go. I see you, my friend, and touch your face again. All right, now seeing as I'm on the thumb and the pattern for the thumb isn't joining anything else, I can pretty much just sew the thumb normally. So I will say, when patterning your hand to make gloves, as long as there's enough space in between each finger, you're fine. But the reason why I'm having issues with this is because I used a glove itself as the pattern. I had mentioned in my last stream, I took the way that I figured out how to get the glove and the sleeve together as one piece. Let me turn this down a little bit. The way that I figured out how to get the glove and the sleeve one piece is I pretty much figured out where the sleeve needed to end and the glove begin. But I did not use the template for my hand, seeing as that was a little too narrow. Like, it was exactly the size of my fingers. And if I was to transfer the template of my actual hand that I have that cut out onto the fabric, and then I make the glove and everything, inside out, it would probably fit just barely. But once I flip it inside out, all that extra space is pretty much turned in on itself, and there's no more extra room for my fingers to fit. So it would be a really tight and really uncomfortable fit. And seeing as I had made a glove previously out of this fabric, and it was pretty much successful, I just turned that back inside out, and I used the way that that was as a template for this, for the costume itself. The only thing with that is, as I was tracing around the fingers, seeing as it was a little bulky, there was really no room in between each, like the webbings of the middle finger and the ring finger and the middle finger and the index finger, so it was a little too close. With that being said, I had to basically I had to eyeball where I needed to sew to get it to hopefully come out right. So we'll find out once the arm is done. People, there's so slow to fly. Crazy. Ooh, No one ever wanna survive unless. Alrighty, so now I need to mark off. Yeah, that should be enough room for the off. Ooh, ooh. All right, that one was a little sharp. Again, be careful. Try and remember where the placement of your pins are, because an unexpected prick will literally send a shot up to your brain, and it's not comfortable at all. It's not nice. It doesn't feel good. Unless you're into that, then hey, by all means, poke away. So now I have where my off ramp is at. Ow. So yes, I have where my off amp ramp is at and my on ramp. So this right here, I don't know if you can really see it, probably not, but there's a mark that's right here. You can probably see it now, but this is technically the on ramp. The off ramp would be right above my index finger, right over here. Right above my index finger. That's the off ramp. Right here is the on ramp. So this space, there's 3 needles in between, or 3 pins in between the 2 pins that I have marked off as my on and my off ramps. That should help with the space issue of my hand going through the forearm area. It's not necessarily the fact that my forearm won't really fit in there. It's more so my hand. I can scrunch up my hand as much as I can, but if the fabric doesn't cooperate and stretch to allow that room for my hand to pass through, then there's really nothing I can do. So just making it wider should help. And again, we will find out when the arm is done. All right, now I'm about to hit the off ramp and just trail out. Have the line for the pattern on the outside of the presser foot as I go along. I'm about to near the on ramp and just ease back in. There we go. Now that we're about to hit a straightaway, straighten out everything else. Make sure I have enough room that it can just flow freely. Make sure there's no clumps or any excess fabric on the underside. And then just sew away. Ooh, my bobbin is nearing the end of the green the green thread. So hopefully there's enough green thread left in this bobbin just to complete the rest of this arm. If there isn't, it's going to be a pain. That is just an unnecessary pain to like have to not really undo, but have to like re-spool another bobbin while I'm sewing. It's just a real pain. So stop right here, check the bobbin. There's still some left. I stand alone inside. For anybody that's played any of the PS2 Prince of Persia games, this song, I believe, is from the second one, which honestly I feel was like the best one, even though I've only really played the second one. I've also played the one that was modeled after the movie. That one wasn't too bad, nor was the movie, but I've only seen that movie once. Jake Gyllenhaal didn't do a bad job though. He was pretty good. I may rewatch that movie. You ever think of a movie you've seen a while ago and then you're like, you know what, I want to see it again, and then like you kind of regret watching it again? Yeah, that was me for the Justice League movie a few weeks ago. That movie was horrible. Their standalone movies are really good. Man of Steel was really good. Wonder Woman, Aquaman was amazing. And I'm a Marvel fan. Yeah. These. Ooh. Very nearing the end of this bobbin. Let's just follow me when it's dark out. I will be our lighthouse. Oh, I lead you back home. Follow me. I believe. Just checking to see if everything is laying flat. Yes, everything is laying flat. There are no overlaps. There's still a little bit of thread left in that bobbin. Alrighties. So I'm not going to end right end of the arm. I am going to end a little bit past it onto this section here just to get that lock. All right, so let's go. Oh, first, let's put that presser foot down. I'm going to need that. All right, let's bring this down. No, I'm not going to do that. All righties. All right, now let's grab the needle pack or the pin pack and just take all these pins out. First, turn that off, put the presser foot down. It's starting to get a little toasty. So since my last stream, I have seen the Shazam movie. Oh my gosh, I really did not expect it to be that good. It was really good. Very enjoyable. I liked Zachary Levi. I believe that's his name. He did a pretty good job. He did a pretty good job portraying a 14, 15-year-old boy with the powers of multiple gods and still being mature very well. And for those that have seen the movie, there are going to be no spoilers, but for those that have seen the movie, I seriously thought the ending was going to be something completely different. More along the lines of Flashpoint Paradox. For those who have seen Flashpoint Paradox, you probably know the reference that I am or the part that I'm referring to when he was fighting against Wonder Woman. But yeah, I was really not expecting that to happen. What's love? I made love. And this is a message to you. I'm all alone. Looking for you. Like to see me. You're just another part of me. Oh my gosh. Pinning and de-pinning, I should say, is just as boring as pinning. We're bringing brighter days. They're all alive, waiting for you. You're just another part of me. All right, so I just finished de-pinning the arm, and we are about to see if my little on-ramp, off-ramp actually works. Ow, ow, getting poked in my knee by pins. Ah. Ooh. Ooh. All right, moment of truth. Yes. Nice, clean pass through. Didn't have much to worry about. Now it's just pulling this a little farther. So yes, it is going to be tight. Let's just turn that a little bit so you can see better. It's going to be tight still around the forearm area, but you know, I can work with that. Again, the main important part with this, or getting this right, is the fingers. And seeing as there was some, so, oh, this was not followed at all. More than likely, that's because of the patterning issue. Well, I can always go in and fix that up. So as you can see here, with the ring finger, let's pull that back. With the ring finger and the middle finger, the stitch was not clean. It was not clean at all, but that's fine because I can pretty much trace where my finger is at and then just go back and clean that up. Simple as that. But this, turning this inside out, it should hopefully it should fit fine. So the best way to do that, when you know that, ow, when you know that you're going to turn something inside out to see how it looks, I like to leave as much room for the seam allowance as possible, even when turning it inside out. It's gonna be a little cramped trying something on, especially after you sewn it, thinking that it's gonna look right. it leaves you the chance to basically make alterations. So if you need to make something smaller, excuse me, if you need to make something a little smaller, you have plenty of room for that. But if you need to make something a little wider, having that extra fabric on there, even after you have like cut all the excess off, it gives you that chance to make the needed alterations. Because if you cut too close, you basically take away your chance of fixing it up if you need to fix it up. So right now, seeing as it's pretty much the tips of the fingers that really need the most work, I can cut like all this excess in between each finger. I can cut all of that away. I don't really need that. It's just the tip of the finger that I need. So I can just like, even like I can cut as close as I need to for the tips of the fingers, seeing as I just need to make them a little smaller. That's an easy fix. However, when it comes to the actual arm, that's a different story. I may need to add more width. So if I was to cut too close to the line, I'm taking away that extra fabric that I would need in order to make it a little wider. So, but this is perfect. This fits perfect. See, like I'm fine with like the folds and all that. It's going to be it's going to be there. So it's going to bother me a little bit, but not too much. So we will see how this all fares. Again, I just needed this around here. I just needed that to be a little bit wider so that my hand like this could just like pass through easy. So now I just gotta take this off carefully because if I just pull, it's gonna pop a lot. And I don't want this to pop, even though I could just go back and fix it. Avenged Sevenfold. So good. Such a good band. I like their music, though I haven't heard a lot of their new stuff recently. I kind of fell off, but like their older stuff, as you can hear, hopefully you can hear. Yes, right now, before I start sewing some more, I have to reload my bobbin. Now, the way to do that, if you have, I think it's called an automatic bobbin or an auto feeder or something or other. It's real simple. It's real easy. Just take your bobbin out. Now that's going to be a lot of thread just wasted, but it's better than running out. Alrighty. Damn, that's a lot of thread wasted. Could have really used that, but I'm not trying to run out as I'm sewing. Because again, that's a pain in the ass. Having to reload while you're in the middle, such a pain. So, oh, there you are. Alrighty. So you take your thread. You can remove this. So just like as you're sewing, orientation of placement of your threads, whatever you have up here is going to be on your top stitch. Whatever you have in the bobbin casing is going to be your bottom stitch. So again, I like to, or I not like to, I just want to have both black and green thread for this costume. So it doesn't really matter which is wherever. I just, I guess I just have green on the bottom and then black on top. But again, that really doesn't matter because I'm just gonna, like, once it's all done and like all the alterations have been made and everything, and I'm satisfied with how it is, I'm just gonna flip the costume upside down so that the already sewn, like the already sewn pieces, the green is gonna be on the top and then the black is gonna be on the bottom, and then just go over everything again. And that way both green and black will be on both sides. But reloading a bobbin, you take your thread. There we go. Alrighty. You take your thread and you put it in the spool. Now up here, kind of need to have it. Let me try something here to show you guys. Let's move this over here. Alrighties. I am going to lie my sewing machine. Whoop. Don't want to break that. Alrighties. If you can see this right here, try and show it a little better. You have to pretty much go under. You go under this hook right here, but you don't feed it back just yet. Then you kind of come under this circle part that's right here. You come under that, and then you circle around, and then you feed it. You feed the thread over here. Now there's an. Let's just put this right back up. All right. There we go. So after you have that set up, you take your bobbin, right? And then there's going to be two holes on opposite sides. So there's going to be one hole on one side at the top, and then on the opposite side down at the bottom. So you can see that hole right there, right next to my middle finger. And then there's a similar hole. You can kind of see it in the background, or right there, right at the tip of my thumb. So you take, it doesn't matter which hole you pick. You take your thread, trying to get it straight. All right. And then you pass it through one of the holes. It doesn't really matter which one. All right. And then you hold it down, and then you pretty much like pre-wind it a little bit. That way, when you go to reload it or re-spool it, it's not just like spinning non-stop. It's basically for it to catch traction, I would like to say. Now, you want to make sure that the thread is on the top. You want to make sure that the thread is on the top, not underneath. Okay, so make sure that your thread is on top. Let's wind this back up a little bit. Now there's going to be a latch right next to your main spool. You put the bobbin on there, and then you push it outward. That basically tells the machine, okay, I'm not going to sew. Instead, I'm going to reload a bobbin. So after you have that set, you turn your sewing machine on, and then you hit the pedal. And as you hit the pedal, if you can see, the spool starts to fill up. Now you can go slow just to make sure that like the thread doesn't break. But if you're a little impatient like me, I like to go a little faster. And there's kind of like a border that's right next to the bobbin area that as soon as the bobbin gets full enough of thread, it'll start to slow down the bobbin. And it's not there yet, and it's just now getting there. Yep, I have reached bobbin max capacity. Cut that off, take that out. Now your bobbin is full. You pull the rest of that out, and then you wrap this up. Now, I introduce y'all to the new millennium bounce. Yeah, 2001. Hot shit, hot shit. Come on. All my niggas in the place. Some up just in the place. Come on, come on. Now, you want to trim the little excess thread off of the top. That is no longer needed. Yeah. Now, putting the bobbin back in. Again, you want to have the thread on the top side, not the bottom side. All right. So you take your bobbin, you slide the bobbin into its carrier, and then there's going to be a silver line. You can't really see it here. Let's see if I can show you. You can see this right here. There's going to be like a silver line that's basically cradling your bobbin, and there's going to be a break in that line. What you want to do is you want to swing the thread. Why do I keep saying fabric? You want to swing the thread through that channel and then up. If you have a similar sewing machine like I do, you want to swing your excess thread up into this channel and then just pull it down, and then it's just going to cut because there's a blade that's inside this channel down at the end. So after you have that done, you are pretty much done loading, like refilling and loading your bobbin. So you can put the cover back on. Then you take whatever thread you're using for the top and just refill that. So now instead of going under the hook and then under the circle and back around, all you're going to do is just go under the hook and then flip it forward. So under and flip, and then you basically follow the instructions right here. So this, you want to make sure that your needle, the arm that catches onto the thread is at the top. You'll see it kind of stick through the space in between these parts here. You just feed the thread down and then hook it up, follow that channel until it gets latched onto the arm that's here, that this arm is basically attached to this needle. And then you want to bring your thread down, pass it through this little hook that's right here. There's a thin space that you basically, let me turn this off so you can probably see better. But you take your thread and then you feed it through that little space there. And you want to bring this arm down. So first you want to make sure that there's, there you go. With this arm, there's a little hook in between these two spaces right here. That's to help you feed your thread through this needle. So the way that you do that, you pretty much, or the way that I do it, I hook it here and here and make sure that the hook is going through the eye of the needle. Sometimes it misses, sometimes it latches on, but you know, Make sure that it's on there. Push the arm through, and your thread should go through the eye of the needle. And if it does, you just pull it on through to the opposite side. Clip the little bit of extra. Put it through the presser foot, and you're ready to go. Alrighties, so where is that arm? Okay, so this is what we just finished sewing. Just finished sewing the arm. Now we are going to go down this. Whoa. We are going to go down the side here up until here. And then we're going to just depin and then just make sure everything is nice and clean and everything lines up. So raise your presser foot. First, you want to make sure that you're comfortable. And sitting on the edge of this chair really isn't comfortable. But this is all I got right now. Alrighties. So just like with anything else that you're sewing, you want to make sure that it's there's no excess fabric underneath wherever you're gonna sew, because again, you don't want to think it's clear and then you start sewing, and then when you go back to look, it's all part of your piece that should not have been sewn into whatever you're sewing has been sewn into whatever it is that you're sewing, and then you have to go back, undo all that stitching, and then redo the sew. It's very annoying. It's extremely tedious. So always make sure that underneath is clear, and for the most part it is. So we're just going to go back to the beginning of this section. We're going to go back to the beginning of this section. We're not going to go we're not going to start at the very tip. We're going to start towards the end of the arm, beginning of this piece. That way we just get that nice clean stitch, and we make sure that everything is pretty much locked. So you turn your sewing machine on, and ow, you want to make sure everything is lining up. So if you have pretty decent eyesight, and if you can spot your last stitch, try and line up where that stitch is to where try to line up the needle to that stitch. That way you get a nice clean line, as opposed to having, you know, something off center and it doesn't flow right when you turn it inside out. So I have my previous stitch lined up. Needle is in. And off we go. Wait. Let's move that out the way. Must surely finish last. Cause day and night, the longest owner seems to free his mind tonight. He's all alone through the day and night. The longest owner seems to free his mind tonight. At night, day and night. The longest owner seems to free his mind tonight. He's all alone, some things will never change. The lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. At night. Hold the phone. The lonely loner, Mr. Solo Dolo. Can't seem to shake the shake. Feels the life he made. The pain is deep. What? You won't hear a beat. I think the first time I heard this song was either in Sleeping Dogs or Watch Dogs. It was one of those two games. And I really enjoyed the song, so I had to have it. Day and night, the lonely loner seems to free his mind at night, at night, day and night. So yeah, again, any questions you guys may have, don't be afraid to like leave them in the comments. You know, engage me. Alrighty, so we just left the diamond shape that's supposed to be right here. And we transitioned into the green. So now with the thinner material, it's kind of easier for like excess to kind of get caught in there. So all I'm doing right now is kind of smoothing the outside of the sewing machine, but it's the inside of the suit. I'm just smoothing that out. And also I'm trying to smooth out the edges to make sure that no excess material kind of clumps up or rolls in as I'm sewing. But also I have to be careful because this arm right here, when the sewing machine is going and that slams on my finger, that shit hurts. So always be aware. You know what? Ingenuity. MacGyver would be proud. All right, that's not really working. I can just grab on the outside. Come on, stop rolling. It's probably rolling because there's not enough fabric on the inside, like this area right here. Really can't see, but there's not enough fabric like right in between my fingers for it to not roll in on itself. So it's a pain trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. Alrighty, so we just left the green and we are now back onto the black fabric. So it's going to be a lot easier to control the flow. Why is it making that sound? I hope all is good. All right, we are nearing the top of the thigh or the top of the leg. So like how we did the transition from the arm into this section right here, I am going to move a little further down from like the waist pelvic area into the top of the thigh, and then that's where I'm going to stop and just check and see, like depend, and then check and see how everything flows. You can have it. Now stay home. Alrighty, now I'm in the top of the thigh. Couple of more stitches. Alrighty. Cut that. Press your foot down. Turn the machine off. Now, turn that a bit. Like Kool-Aid. I'm trying not to waste time. Alrighty. Pins. Where's my pins? I can have it. Better believe in something. Alrighties. So the reason why I started making costumes in the first place, or wanted to start making costumes in the first place, I should say, was seeing all of these videos of these guys that make these fully automated Iron Man suits was just blew my mind away. Like I saw one video, this guy is just like walking in an area and his costume's just so seamless. It beautiful. It looked like the actual suit from the movie. The non-CGI suit, because apparently there was an actual physical Iron Man suit that they had, I guess, for post-production or pre-production. I think it was like a model of how they wanted the suit to look and function and all that. So, their team built an actual suit, and this guy had made his own, and like the back flaps was working, the shoulders were like popping up, the face mask lifted up and closed, lights and all of that. And I thought that was stupid cool. But I am nowhere near that skill level in, producing a costume. So I just have to stick to fabric for now. I did with this Green Lantern costume, I did have the idea to have LED strips in like into the suit. That way I could have, like more on the green fabric than like on the whole body. But I had the idea of having LED strips. That way, like I could have 3 settings of green lights. One that just has like a slow pulse, and then another that just has like a rapid pulse, and then one that's just static on. And I just first I need to get adept, I should say, at soldering and whatnot. Oh, this came out for the first try. This side came out a little bit better. I only say a little bit better because this up here is gonna bug the holy mess out of me. Yeah, let's see the other side. Yeah, as you can see with the other side, I kind of fixed it up a little bit, but you know what? More than likely, I'm just gonna leave it alone. I don't know. Here's one side with how that looks, and then here's this side with how this looks. Yeah, I'm gonna skip that one, skip that one, skip. I'll let you play. Alrighties. So, I don't know. But you know what? I am going. Yeah, so far this is coming along pretty well. So I'm gonna call this one short. I'm gonna call this stream short only because there's a few other things that I do have to do, and those things may take a little longer for me to do than the day will allow. So I will. My next stream will be on a Friday, this upcoming Friday, and it will be much earlier in the day. It'll be, I would say, around 4 p.m. Eastern Daytime or Eastern Daylight Time, EDT. So that way, I can talk a little more about how I'm doing what I'm doing or what have you. But in that note, I will end this stream off with a thank you to those that tuned in. Thank you for those that have been giving me your positive feedbacks, your positive energy. For those even that have, I don't want to say negative, but I would say less than positive feedbacks. All feedback is welcome, both negative and positive. It helps me grow personally. Constructive criticism is always a good thing, and I like to have constructive criticism. So yes, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this particular stream or my previous stream or any of my videos, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share with your friends, share with your family, any of those guys that you may know that's into this fellow nerd stuff, you know, cosplay, Star Wars, anime, all that good stuff. Let them know about, like, let them know, tell them about me, you know, like, share me with your friends. That sounds wrong, but hey, this is YouTube. Everybody shares everybody else with everyone. So, thank you for tuning in and enjoy the rest of your day.